First American Title's NetSheet calculator is called CostsFirst. CostsFirst can be found at CostsFirst.com, or you can download the mobile applications from the iTunes Store or Google Play Store. CostsFirst as a mobile application is provided to our clients at no charge for the full functionality of the tool. The benefit of CostsFirst is you have a desktop tool and a mobile application, and all the information is shared on the cloud to make sure that you have things accessible on either of the devices, desktop or mobile. Today's video is going to cover the settings feature on all the default costs built in to CostsFirst. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to CostsFirst.com, register to get an account. Once you have an account and log into CostsFirst, you get to the dashboard. The dashboard view is going to show you your home county where your costs are associated with for those properties that you do net sheets with, and your title professional at the top of the web page if you need to reach out to them. If you have any problems or issues with settings and you want to contact somebody, you could always reach out to our technical support group, 800-252-8692, or support@CostsFirst.com. We're going to go over an example of a buyer's net sheet and then how the settings relate to that buyer's net sheet. So when I click on buyers, we're going to cover this in a separate video, but I want to answer these first major questions. What's the property address, specifically what the zip code is, because it will bring in the right title and escrow fee. What's the purchase price of the home that they're looking to buy. You can put in your down payment or lender information. You can pick a close date. By default, we put it out at 45 days. You can always make it earlier. You can always make it later. That helps with the tax prorations of the system. And you put in the estimated property taxes for that particular property. So you answer the questions on the left, and then it immediately drives the answers to the right. It brings in the right title and escrow fee, and it will associate what or who will pay those particular costs. So in escrow case, most of the time they're split 50-50. Most of the time the seller pays the title insurance fee, but let's say the buyer pays it, or let's say they negotiate it where they split it, because anything is negotiable. So it brings in the right title and escrow fee associated with the net sheet. Since I'm working on a buyer's net sheet, the seller's not going to pay any, the buyer's not going to pay any of the title fee, but the seller is. And then it brings in the associated fees. If you know any of these fees are going to be different, you can always change them. For example, I think the appraisal in my market is $550. Or, in the home warranty, I don't push the $500 home warranty. I talk about the $395 home warranty. So these numbers here are in the default settings that we'll talk about in a moment, but you can change the settings anytime that you want as you determine your net sheet. So in this case, $500,000 purchase of a home is going to result in a $3,260 monthly payment with a $67,000 down payment. How does that all relate in terms of the settings and the costs associated with this? We're going to go back to the dashboard and go look at settings. Settings allows you to look at the default cost for an average normal transaction, and we estimate it pretty close. And we usually estimate it on the conservative side within a couple of $100. Remember, it's an estimate. It's not an exact actual quote for all the closing costs that are associated with it. It gives the buyer and seller a good idea in terms of what their costs are going to be. Now, you as a real estate mortgage professional that use the program, you can change any of these default costs that you want. If you know it's going to be different in your particular market area, if you want to do this natural hazard, let's say, and you want to change that $120 value because the natural hazard in your particular market is $99, you can click on the green check mark, accept it, and save it. Same thing goes for home warranty. If you know you're going to always do the higher warranty price, you can always change it to $500, and now you're not having to change every single net sheet that you do. You can also add other costs or other fees. Let's say instead of the other here, I want to add a transaction coordination fee. Okay, and that transaction coordination fee is $250. Again, green check and save it. The benefit of setting up these settings for your particular area is it's going to save you time when you generate these NetSheet calculators. If you know that those rates will never change and you don't want the program to ever change those settings, then you can check this box in terms of lock. I don't want any updates with the program to come out and change those fees. So I want to lock them in so it will never change those fees until I want them to be changed. Now, if you make a mistake and you want to reset up or re-download and start from scratch, you can always say, I want to re-download default costs, and it will wipe out everything that you've done with the exception of locks, and then it will restate everything. If you turn off your locks and then click on re-download default costs, then it's going to put everything back to its original condition for both your mobile application and your desktop. Now, reviewing these tabs, every tab is associated with one of the net sheets that we do, whether it be a short sale, whether it be the FHA, VHA rules, whether it be buyer costs, refinance costs, conventional loan information. Let's say you know on the refinance cost that you know the percentage is always going to be a point on loans, so you can enter that information if you wanted to. This closing date timing calculator TRID, it allows, beside the net sheet to be printed or emailed, you can always email or print the closing date timing calculator. Basically, it is when does the closing disclosure have to be mailed in order for it to close on a certain day. Same thing goes for TRID. If you print out the TRID disclosure, it will allow you to see all of the TRID disclosed pricing, not necessarily what the actual closing costs are. The other escrow is important for Southern California. Southern California has a lot of independent escrow or broker-owned escrow, and they may want to get a title quote from First American, but they may want to use their own they may want to use their own escrow fees for their particular market area. So they can put in whatever those base rates are and the dollar per thousand. If they check this box, then it will deliver our title fees, these escrow rates that will match their in-house escrow or independent escrow that they use. Unchecking it is going to deliver back First American title and escrow fees. This loan comparison tab over here is when you run that report, it will run it in the $25,000 increments, and you can always change that. I want to be at $50,000. I want to do a $100,000 increment. You can always change that as a setting. So when you change these and hit the green save button, it will save the settings. So when you go to your dashboard and you do a net sheet, all these fees will be brought in based on that setting tab. That's it for this setting video. The next video we'll talk about is actually how to do a quick quote within the First American net sheet calculator. Thanks a lot for listening. Make it a profitable day.